Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And it's nice to see division in the SNP. We've got another one. Here we go with this, because Pistol Pete Wishart is walking away from Humza Yousaf's declaration of Tory loathing. Now, you wouldn't expect Pete Wishart to be on the right side of things, but on this case he is. Wishart isn't stupid. He knows there's Tories in Scotland. He knows that they're never going to eradicate Tories in Scotland, and to say so is hate speech. It's going to be cracking, But how bad a policy must it be if Pete Wishart thinks it's a bad idea? Wishart himself has had some right crackers over the years, and yet here he is walking away from this one because even he realises how damaging it will be, and also how humiliating it's going to be after the next election, when the Tories are likely to take a seat or two off the SNP. Maybe Wishart has got a bit more political nous than we've ever given him credit for. To be fair, that wouldn't be hard. We've never given him much. But it is nice to see that this division in the SNP continues apace, and there is further renting of another front between those who do agree with Humza and those who don't agree with Humza. And it is always the betterment of those who don't. Let's take a look at this to see why old Pistol Pete is not firing blanks for once. Here goes. So Pete Wishart distances himself from Humza Yousaf's nasty Tory-free rhetoric, despite he himself already using it. I know, you can't win them all, but at least he's maybe seen the light. He's been like on the road to Damascus. He's had that conversion, and he's realised that he doesn't need to be pushing the politics of hate quite so hard. The Nat's longest serving Westminster politician represents an area that has a strong conservative tradition and has sought to put clear water between himself and his boss's message. Indeed. You see, even though he's won the seat for the SNP, it is strongly conservative still. And little annoyances and things will make him lose his job. I suspect Wishart is one of those that's gone. Quite literally gone. It's just, he's finished, isn't he? A veteran SNP politician has distanced himself from Humza Yousaf's key message ahead of the general election. Wishart said he would not use the Tory-free rhetoric in his campaign, despite using the phrase as recently as last week. It comes amid claims the SNP leader has turned nasty as he looks to galvanise the nationalist movement ahead of this year's general election. Wishart is the SNP's longest serving MP and represents the Perth and North Perthshire seat. He'll be standing in the new Perth and Kinrossshire constituency, where he will go up against former Auckland South Perthshire Tory MP Luke Graham, where Wishart has held his seat since 2021. The Conservatives retain a strong core support in Perthshire, coming close to unseating him in 2017 and regularly polling over 30%. It doesn't take much and Wishart is gone. So of course Wishart doesn't want to be sitting there and going on strong anti-Tory rhetoric, knowing it will galvanise people who were otherwise fence-sitters or who may not have voted at all. It's a surefire winner, isn't it? It really is a surefire winner, especially given how bad the SNP are polling. You can't get over it. It is when you are exposing not just political difference, which is normal and right in an election, but exposing pure, raw hatred for the opposition. That is divisive. That is a country split that can never be mended. When it isn't just a difference of opinion, but now it has to be force-fed hate. You must hate them. You must hate them. And you have a company, if you have a country rent with hate, it is a country doomed to fail. It becomes tribal. And one only has to look at what happens in Africa with tribal politics. There's no stability. And that is the route Scotland is going to. The only way, and I foresee that the only way Scotland will ever be healed is if Scotland breaks into two. And you have two tribal Scotlands. And you have, the Highlands go one way and the lowlands go another way, but in the middle of the central belt, and you can put all the dross, all the hate, all the SNP lot in the central belt, and let everyone else live normal, decent lives, and make central Scotland its own country, free from interference with anyone else, and then let them just all starve to death, because they will, because they'll be too busy fighting to actually create anything. Hate is terrible But hate is all the SNP sell. It's the only tool in their box. Ironically, Mr Yousaf was in Perth on Saturday for the SNP's campaign council, where he pledged to make Scotland free of not just Tory MPs, but Tory policies, Tory ideas and Tory values. He wants to get rid of all Tories. He hates Tories and he wants no Tories in Scotland. Well, I remember that there was a certain Austrian gentleman who didn't want any Jews in Germany. How'd that work out? Given the political makeup of the reason, Wishart has now sought to put clear water between himself and his boss's message. Wishart is running scared. Taking to social media site X on Sunday morning, he said, "Much as I will be doing everything possible to ensure that the Tories are kept out of Perth and Kinrossha, I won't be using the Tory-free rhetoric as part of my campaign." And despite his statement, Mr Wishart had previously used the phrase. In a tweet from March the 9th, he posted a picture of himself and activists saying, "What did you do for your birthday, Pete?" "Well, I wandered around the streets of Bridgeverne in sub-Baltic conditions, trying to make my country Tory-free, doing something nice later on." Yeah, goose-stepping round, Eine Volk. Scottish Conservative MSP from Mid-Scotland Fife, Murdo Fraser, said the SNP's leader, his divisive rhetoric is an insult to the hundreds of thousands of people who vote Scottish Conservative. He knows it's not going to happen. In fact, we're aiming to take gains from the SNP at the general election. And it's interesting that the SNP's longest serving MP is now disowning his party leader's ugly rhetoric. But that said, it's only been 8 days since Pete Wishart trotted it out himself. So he's got no credibility, posing as a man of integrity. Well, this is Pete Wishart. There's never been any integrity. He's himself a hate-filled tosspot. But he knows which side of the bread is buttered. And if he stands there and moans about the fascism of no more Tories, no more Jews, seems to be they go hand in hand, don't they? Both with the SNP and with their leader. He agrees with both of those things. Tories out, Jews out. Seems to be the way of the world, I suppose, in Scotland. Who'd have thought Scotland linked so closely with the Third Reich? Ho-hum. Coming up. Anti-Semitism and anti-Tory seems to go hand in hand in Scotland. They have marches against both, don't they? They don't like Jews. They keep having these marches against the Jews. And we've got a story coming up shortly where, again, there was a big march against Judaism. They don't like the Jews. It's like the Nuremberg rallies all over again. And you can imagine Herr Yousaf standing there, goose-stepping up to the steps, and then putting his arm out in a kind of pointing towards the sky, but with all his fingers manner. I'm surprised they haven't invested new uniforms for the police. Maybe something nice, sharp, crisp. Something from Hugo Boss, perhaps. In black. That would look nice, wouldn't it? And a little logo on the side. A little yellow symbol on the side and an armband. Seems to be the way of the world. Anyway, so I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and God help you if you're living in Scotland under the new regime of Thought Police and Room 101. Bye.